What is the most embarrassing thing you have ever done in attempt to impress a girl? I was 8. Just learning how to kick a soccer ball correctly. Thinking that I'm hot tea. I brought my ball outside and started talking to the neighbor girl about how I could kick it so high and far with no problem. She believed me and wanted to see it for herself. So I tell her that I can easily kick it over her house. Only one story with an inclined driveway. I decide to line up my kick on the street. I get in the zone and just kick the ever-living FCK out of this ball. Right through her front window. Not even close. I booked. I was really expecting that you drilled her in the face, but still an awesome story. When I was a teenager, I called the home phone of a girl I had a big crush on. She didn't answer, so I sang "I Want You, She's So Heavy" by the Beatles on her answering machine. She called me an hour later to tell me what a two-lie was. But apparently her parents got a big kick out of it. I don't remember this, but apparently when I was in preschool I pulled my pants down and peed in front of the neighbor boy to impress him in my driveway. My flirting skills have since improved. First day of kindergarten class. Love at first sight kind of thing. Her name was Jessica. I thought I would impress her by professing my love for her in front of everyone in class. What I was going to say was, "Hey, does anyone in this class think Jessica's ugly? Because I think she is gorgeous." Unfortunately, all I got to say was, "Hey, does anyone in this class think Jessica is ugly?" before I was immediately interrupted by the teacher. Though I was trying to be mean to Jessica by calling her ugly, I was sent to the principal's office. And needless to say, Jessica never spoke to me. Honestly, that probably saved you from way more embarrassment. I had a huge crush on this girl. Her best friend was having a pool party one summer during high school. I wanted to make a grand entrance, so before she saw me I intended to run from inside the house to cannonball into the pool outside. I started running and stepped outside only to wipe out spectacularly on the side of the pool and fell halfway in. The whole party turned to me and laughed. Including the crush. This was even before I started drinking. This was why I started drinking. FTFY. In first grade, I gave my crush one of mom's necklaces and a couple of dollars in hopes that she would like me back. It didn't work. That pretty much sums up adult relationships as well. I once gave this girl I had a crush on a big, red, heart-shaped balloon. She took a hairpin out of her hair and burst it. Right in front of me. Edit okay. Right in front of me. Not tight. You should have taken that hairpin and popped her boobs. Edit. My highest rated comment so far has to do with popping boobs with a hairpin. Sweet. When I was in year 5, I stupidly told my mum I fancied a girl at school. She went out and bought flowers and chocolates for me to bring into school. Which I did. Unfortunately, that day I was late, so I had to give her the gifts in front of my whole class. Which involved a lot of laughing from them. And a rather large red face from myself. I went over. Gave her a large bunch of flowers that were nearly as big as me and the box of roses chocolates. She looked embarrassed and pissed. So it didn't work. I heard she kept the chocolates in her desk for months until they went moldy. I love nut chocolate as well. Christ. Edit. To whomever dropped the RG. Thank you sir or ma'am. Asterisk. 12 years old. Hanging out at my friend's for the night. His sister also had a girlfriend spending the night. They were hanging in sister's bedroom and we were playing video games in the den. I thought it would be funny to crack the bedroom door and moon them. Their backs were turned from the door. And after 10 seconds or so with them not noticing, I thought it'd be funny to rip a fart to get their attention. Bending over in the middle of the doorway. Pushed one out. Shat. I let my pants fall down to show what a badass I was and that I didn't live by the norms society set for us. I was in 2nd grade and immediately felt embarrassed. Having forgot that I was wearing my Pokemon briefs. If you had just waited until university, this probably would have gotten you laid. In my high school, it was a thing to ask your date to prom, homecoming, other dances in creative ways. My girlfriend at the time was a band person. So in the middle of her band class, burst in and rapped an invitation to prom. The best I could come up with was to rhyme prom with Vietnam. There were videos taken. I hate my life. Edit. Sorry. I left out a fairly important detail. I was an 18-year-old gangly Indian boy. Ugh. I showed her my Minecraft world. It seemed like a good idea at the time. How naive I was. I showed a girl how fast I could install Linux. Jesus Christ, I am terrible. I'm a girl. The most embarrassing thing someone has done to try and impress me happened when we were both around 15. He tried to jump over a fence at about waist height, but his shoe caught and he fell face first into the floor. In front of a whole McDonald's full of people. I still went out with him. Edit. Spelling. You're doing good, Spider-Man and therapist walrus. Edit. FCKing autocorrect. Edit 2. When I was in first grade, I was playing on my school playground and jungle gym. There was this cute girl there. And as I was running across one of these little bridges, she intercepted me. We just stared at each other for a good 5 seconds until I broke the ice by punching her in the face and running away. I never got her number. When I was 18, I went to a friend's house party and got very drunk. I knew I was past the point of no return, so excused myself for a quick tactical chunder. Earlier in the night I had been talking to this cute girl for a while. We were flirting casually and seemed to have hit it off. Fast forward to myself puking up half a bottle of Jajamista. And who should be at the front of the bathroom queue but Miss Cute Girl herself. It's a little hard to be sick quietly. So after hearing the wet sounds of vomit hitting water, she asked if I was being sick. No. I was just going for a poo. She didn't use the bathroom. Nor did she flirt with me anymore that night. That's because you use the phrase going for a poo. Women only respect guys who take manly shits. Accepted a dare to run around my friend's house naked. It was cold out. My friend did a front flip of a jungle gym to impress a girl in 6th grade. 6 years later they sexed. The long play. The twist is his friend is 27 and had to wait for her to be legal. This isn't hugely embarrassing, but it's one of those stupid things that my brain won't let me forget. I was at a club dancing drunkenly and noticed 2 girls nearby looking my way. Instead of just continuing to dance or going over to them, I for some goddamn reason decided to try some little spiffy dance move that sort of involved raising my hands and doing something with my feet. That felt as stupid as it surely looked. The girls laughed at me and moved away. I still to this day don't know what look or style I was trying to pull off. Or why. Tried to do a power slide in my car right in front of her. Bro, do you even drift? In elementary school I was in love with a girl in my class. I didn't dare to say a thing to her. So instead, I kicked her in the crotch with full power and without warning. That got her attention. Alpha at FCK. She was sitting next to me in class. I knew she liked smart guys. I wasn't paying attention. Raised my hand immediately after hearing the professor ask a question. Didn't hear the question. Spent 10 minutes trying to explain how I understood string theory. I don't know shit about the string theory. I stole doilies from my house and gave them to my grade 2 teacher. I still remember MRS Anderson. I was in karate from ages 10-12 or so and had some decent skills. My sisters were in dance class at a community center, and instead of taking the taxi home, a girl I really liked offered to drive us home. When we get to the house, she comes in for a minute and I want to show her how I can kick over my littlest sister's head, which I'd done a million times before. I kick up perfectly high enough, but do not sweep over enough for my foot to be on the other side of my sister's head. So it comes down and drops on the top of her head like a hammer and I almost fall over. I never did get a date with that girl. Edit. To clarify, I'd been out of karate a couple years but was still proud of my skills. I was 15 or 16 at the time and the girl was in the same grade as me. This is probably borderline creepy, but when my first period class would release in high school, I would see my crush walk out of her classroom and intentionally walk where she would see me just to hear her say hi to me. Everyone has tried this. Or attempted to at least. Biking around a nearby town with a good buddy. An MSN Messenger's status had revealed my crush would be going to the town's dinky little skate park. I'm awful at biking and snakeboarding and such, but I want to impress her. We get there. She's not there yet. So I decided to take a practice run up one of the ramps. Turns out it rained the night before. So right when I got to the top, my bike slips. I wipe out and slide all the way to the bottom to see my crush just arriving at the park. I'm bleeding profusely. Start crying and have to wait in awkward silence until my mom picks me up. Even if you're awful at it, snakeboarding still sounds badass. Me. 15-16. Gets invited from a mutual friend to a pool party. See old friends. Make new acquaintances. And there she is. The girl I had a major crush on. She smiles and waves and continues floating around on her back. Attempt to dive over her. Like a boss. And end up kneeing her right in the nose. There's blood. Screaming. And 100 seething fingers pointed right at my feels. She ran away crying. And I never spoke to her again. I ended up seeing her about a week later. It was bad. I still feel terrible. Wasn't me, but I remember seeing some guy in town with a girl trying to act cool. Paid for something and was like, keep the change, with a smug grin. Turned out he didn't even have enough on him to buy it. Lols were had. As a sophomore in high school, I joined the wrestling team to have something to talk about to impress this one girl I really liked. I threw up on my first day of the very strenuous exercising, but stuck with the practices until I broke my nose during a weekend session. It didn't hurt a lot, but I couldn't stop crying. The next Monday, I quit. All before the wrestling season even started. I didn't even talk to the girl anymore at this point. I joined the cheerleading squad because I wanted to meet a boy who played on a basketball team and figured cheering for him would give me an in. The first week of practice I realized I wasn't good at choreographed dancing and they dropped me while practicing a basket toss. I dislocated my arm, so I quit. All to find out afterwards that freshmen don't cheer for the regular games, so I never would have met him anyway. Had a crush on my first grade teacher, Mrs. Simmons. I found out that teachers had to buy school supplies, and her birthday was coming. I went home, cleaned out my craft box and gathered all my crayons, pens and elastic bands and wrapped them in lined paper for her. Got a kiss on the cheek. Never washed the cheek. Edit. If I were to do that these days, I think I would have had a shot at winding up on Dateline the way teachers put out. Damn. In 3rd grade I would always run to the swings at the beginning of recess. I would get on the swing for 2 minutes before the girl I liked would come over and ask to get on it. So I would pump as high as I could, grab the chains, and do a backflip off the swing. I looked like a total badass. Then I would run away because I was too nervous to actually talk to her. This happened every single day. Even worse, she already told me she liked me. Not me. But this guy and I were walking downtown and he decides to leap over a parking meter only to HT hard on the way down. Funny thing is, I wasn't even paying attention. I look over in time to see him face plant the concrete and say to him, "What the hell are you doing?" Full stop. He responds that he was trying to jump the meter to impress me. It's cool though. We were together casually for a few years anyways. Well, I'm a girl, so I hope I'm welcome here. I tried to impress a new boyfriend by challenging him to a drinking contest. Down 3 pints of Guinness way quicker than him. He was really impressed. Until we got outside and I projectile vomited all the way across the street, I mean literally from one curb to the other. It was a violent green color. I was at the gym in school with my huge rugby friends. They were taking turns at seeing who could row 2,000 meters the quickest. There were a few girls watching the spectacle from the side, and my father used to row for his university, so I decided I, too, would join the fray. Now I am a finely tuned athletic machine. However, I am also 5 foot tall. Thus, I was forced to row like a moth to make up for my short arms. Fortunately, the threat of looking like a CNT kept me pulling my way through to a respectable time. The only thing was I was FK'd. The rest hadn't been working too hard and were comparatively fresh. The most experienced member of our group asked if anyone wanted to do another round. The rest declined, but to impress the girls, I committed myself to another 7-10 minutes of hell. I could barely walk afterwards and fell up down every time I encountered a stairway. I tried to pet the shark in the shark petting tank at the aquarium, and upon petting it, my sleeve went all the way in the tank. The shark shit itself. And when removing my arm from the tank, dripped dirty fish water and runny shit from my sleeve. Needless to say, I saw neither the girl, the jacket, or the shark again. Grade 10. Half day at school, and me and some friends decided to go to the park nearby. We were playing Sandman Grounders on the swing set, and my crush was it. We were having fun because it was taking her a long time to catch someone. In the end, I took pity and faked getting caught. Was pretty smooth about it. Now, I try to look all macho and jump from the top of the swing set. It was pretty high. Land on my ass and get the wind knocked out of me. Wasn't able to speak for a few minutes. Everybody had a great laugh. I was embarrassed as FCK. The helicopter dick. Turns out the Lonely Island lied to me, and that doesn't actually impress the chick. On the first date, I told a girl I loved her after stealing her a blow French horn. I hired a bunch of goons to attack her so I could jump in and save the day. I accidentally slept in that day. Bullshit. Elope. I cut my ear off.